The raw morning fog clung close to the cold cobblestone streets of Boston, a city teetering on the balance of antiquity and modernity. Each crevice and alcove bore whispers of bygone eras, the arcane mingling with the mundane under the somber New England sky. Within the confines of the 17th precinct, Detective Ian Archer sat hunched over a desk strewn with yellowing photographs and crinkled notes. His piercing eyes bore an intensity that hinted at a darkness endured. An untouched sandwich lay on his desk, its presence barely acknowledged by the gaunt man whose life was consumed by secrets others couldn't bear. "Another damn rabbit hole, Ian." His partner, grizzled veteran Samuel Briggs, eyed him with a mix of concern and admiration. Briggs had seen how Ian's personal battles fed his relentless pursuit of justice. He had watched the once robust rookie whittle down to a sinewy specter, obsessed with giving the voiceless their due. "No rabbit hole, Sam. It's a sewer pit," Ian responded, tracing the faint lines of a cryptic symbol he'd found on a victim's letter. The letter had hinted at forgotten shadows, a plea from the underbelly of their fair city. A haunted curiosity lurked in his gaze. Something isn't right about this one. Boston, that timeless cradle of freedom, carried in its bones a history of secrets. Its sewers, ancient and labyrinthine, bore the weight of stories untold. And it was here that Ian found himself, drawn by the puzzle that promised a journey into the past. The musty sewer air was dense with age and decay. Cold moisture clung to the brickwork, creeping into his very soul, amplifying the whispers of nameless fear that lurked in the corners of his mind. The damp echoed with the silenced cries of the victim, stirring within him a restless unease. "The past is in these walls, Sam," Ian's voice echoed in the darkness, his flashlight illuminating the grimy stones. Briggs followed, the stagnant air making him shiver. "Just need to decipher it." Their eyes landed on an etching, an exact replica of the symbol from the letter. It was carved into the rough sewer wall, an ancient sign amid modern graffiti. A chill ran down their spines, the symbol casting a spectral glow in their torchlight. He felt a pulsing connection to the symbol, a call from a dark corner of the city's history, beckoning him further into the forgotten shadows. It felt like a sinister prelude, an overture to a dreadful symphony yet to play. In the still silence, they heard a distant, guttural hum, an echo from the depths. The sound slithered through the tunnels, resonating with the chilling symbol on the wall. It was a whisper of a dread, long dormant, now stirring. The uneasy detectives left the sewer, the cryptic symbol a looming puzzle in their minds. Boston slept above them, unaware of the subterranean echoes, while Ian found himself on the precipice of an investigation that threatened to transcend his comprehension, promising a descent into darkness. The old city of Boston rested uneasily, a living tapestry of modernity draped over ancient foundations. As the day broke over the skyline, a sense of disquiet ran like a spectral current through its heart, touching the lives of its residents in inexplicable ways. In the precinct, Ian Archer was immersed in a labyrinth of records, his mind mapping the intricate connections of Boston's forgotten past. The cryptic symbol from the sewers had led him to dusty archives, through cobweb-draped stacks of decrepit books recounting tales of an obscure cult, the keepers of the old ways. "You think there's a connection, Ian?" Briggs's voice floated across the room, amidst the sea of forgotten documents. His hardened eyes bore the weight of skepticism, having seen his fair share of cases that looked worse than they were. "I don't know yet, Sam," he admitted, his gaze fixed on a yellowed parchment featuring the symbol they'd found. "But the patterns are too strong to be a coincidence. And then there's everything happening in the city." An ominous cloud had indeed cast a shadow over Boston. Citizens reported nightmares that seemed too real, of creeping shadows and inhuman whispers. A frenzied flock of pigeons had taken to darkening the skies at midday, their cacophony an eerie symphony to the city's unrest. An inexplicable chill descended on a midsummer's day, while unseasonal thunderstorms lit up the night. Briggs shook his head. "People get spooked, start seeing things. And the weather? It's New England, Ian." Despite his words, a thread of uncertainty weaved through his tone. He too had felt the inexplicable chill, and had heard the peculiar hum in the silence of the night. Yet it was not merely these oddities that stoked the fires of Ian's unease. The city, its pulse once a familiar thrum, felt uncanny, like a known face wearing an unfamiliar mask. Each corner carried an echo of a watchful gaze, the unseen presence lingering on the edge of perception. The records revealed unsettling rituals tied to the cult's worship of a cosmic entity, a being lost to the annals of history. Tales of the city's forgotten denizens, surrendering to the unseen watcher, stirred a cold dread within him. He could not shake off the feeling of being observed, the sensation reaching its peak when he was alone in his apartment. The city's noise a distant murmur. He could almost hear whispers, feel a spectral chill that bore a striking resemblance to the cold dread he felt in the sewers. He stood at his window, the sprawling cityscape bathed in the dim twilight. He felt an ancient cosmic force coiling under the city's veneer, an unseen presence lurking within the labyrinthine sewers. A chilling realization settled in his bones. This investigation was not merely a pursuit of human criminals, but a dance on the precipice of the unknowable, an inexorable draw towards the chasm of the old ways. As nightfall descended upon the city of Boston, its cobblestone streets glowing under the eerie pallor of the moon, the city seemed to hold its breath, the familiar hum of its heartbeat replaced by an unnerving silence. Underneath the silent city, Ian ventured into the hidden veins of Boston, its ancient sewers humming with whispers of the forgotten. Guided by the cryptic symbol, Ian and Briggs found themselves drawn deeper into the labyrinthine network. The air here was different. It hung heavy with an ageless dread, pregnant with secrets that were as old as time itself. The atmosphere was no longer merely musty and damp. It was suffused with an otherworldly presence that prickled their skin and raised the hair at the nape of their necks. "Do you feel it, Sam?" Ian's voice trembled, resonating with the eerie hum of the place. His flashlight pierced the darkness, casting long, dancing shadows that played tricks on their eyes. Briggs swallowed hard, feeling the same spectral chill that gnawed at their senses. "Feels like we've stepped into another world. Doesn't feel right." Their steps led them to an uncharted area of the sewer, the walls marked by the cryptic symbol, the air thrumming with an ancient energy. The sense of intrusion was palpable, a whispering violation of slumbering horrors, their echo resonating with the symbol etched in the stony skin of the tunnels. The moment they stepped into the hidden recess, their torches fell upon an astonishing sight. A vast underground temple rose from the abyss, the darkness clinging to its archaic stone pillars. The walls were adorned with disturbing carvings, depicting grotesque rituals and a monstrous cosmic entity, the Starved Maw. In the chilling silence, Ian approached a mural. His heart pounded in his chest as he traced the horrific scenes etched in stone. Humans, their faces twisted in fear and resignation, offering themselves as sustenance to the monstrous entity. The scene struck a raw nerve, triggering his past trauma associated with food and consumption. He staggered back, a dreadful understanding dawning upon him. The missing people of Boston's past, the current slave traders, and the entity were all interconnected in a tapestry of cosmic horror. The ritualistic offerings to the Starved Maw stirred within him a terror that transcended mortal fears. In the silent dread of the temple, the detectives could hear a low, dreadful sound that resonated from the abyss. A horrific realization washed over them. They had stumbled upon a monstrous secret, a primordial force that thrived beneath their city. The stirring of the ancient entity reverberated through the vast temple, a haunting melody of dread and anticipation. Ian, now more than ever, felt the pull of the unseen presence. Despite the paralyzing fear, he knew he had to face this ancient terror, to prevent the cycle of offerings, and to unveil the horror that lurks beneath their feet. Boston sat shrouded in the eerie quiet of pre-dawn, oblivious to the dark knowledge that now clung to its underbelly. Amid the shadowed buildings of the precinct, Ian wrestled with the horrifying revelations. The haunting images of the underground temple seared into his mind. Beneath the ordinary chaos of his workplace, he found himself entrapped in a dreadful dichotomy. How could he continue to live amidst the everyday when the unseen horror lurked just beneath the surface, threatening to swallow the city whole? "You okay?" Briggs's gravelly voice broke through his thoughts, concern etching lines deeper into his weathered face. He looked at his partner, his eyes a mirror to the unfathomable fear he had encountered. "We're not just dealing with humans, Sam. We're up against something else." In the ensuing hours, he pieced together the gruesome puzzle, his convictions turning the cogwheels of the precinct. He relayed his discoveries with a fervor that echoed his desperate need to prevent further sacrifices. The city's police force, led by Ian, prepared to descend into the unknown. The air in the precinct was thick with tension and uncertainty, the looming raid casting long, ominous shadows over the hearts of even the most hardened officers. The city of Boston was on the brink of confronting an unthinkable horror that lurked in its underbelly. As the raid commenced, the sewers transformed into a battlefield. The confrontation with the slave traders echoed the primal struggle of humanity against its basest selves. Amid the ensuing chaos, Ian could feel the unseen entity stir, its primeval hum growing louder in resonance with the conflict. The bustle of the fight was a stark contrast to the silent horror that lay ahead. The further they ventured, the stronger the presence of the Starved Maw became. The air vibrated with an ancient, malevolent anticipation, a dread that filled their hearts with an unspeakable terror. Their success in dismantling the human criminals was overshadowed by the terror of the disturbed entity. The traitors were apprehended, but the ancient presence in the sewers, the entity they had unknowingly stirred, was another horror they were not equipped to face. Standing amidst the remnants of the confrontation, Ian found himself haunted by the knowledge of the lurking horror beneath Boston. The entity, now quiet, lay dormant but not defeated, its presence a reminder of the terror it could unleash. The sewers echoed with a horrifying hum, a reminder of the Starved Maw waiting patiently for its time. Forever changed, he looked up at the sprawling cityscape above him, the silent streets oblivious to the cosmic terror that lay beneath. The victory over the slave traders was bittersweet, overshadowed by the haunting knowledge of the lurking entity. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel, where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.